Hello, everyone. Welcome to Daniel Vincent's podcast. And special welcome to Neelesh Harbhajan. Neelesh, welcome to my podcast. How are you, my friend?
Hi, Daniel. It's so good to see you again and so happy to be here. I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
I am doing well. And here in Canada, we're experiencing lots of snow, but enjoying it. Enjoying the fact that every morning I wake up and I look at something and I see something to be grateful for. And right now I'm just looking at the white snow, crisp, clean, walk outside and the air is fresh. And I love it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
I must say that you guys with snow where you are right now, I'm on the other side of the world in South Africa. And for us, it's the last day of summer here. And I remember being in Canada and being in Toronto. And I must tell you that, for me, being exposed to minus 16 and minus 20 degrees Celsius was a completely new experience. It was the first time in my life I ever experienced brain freeze for real. So
wow.
I know a lot about your winters.
So the brain freeze, is it the same thing as eating ice cream, or is it just, how did you feel? What was it like?
I thought that you're so used to seeing in the movies like having something really cold to drink or icy, or as you said, like really frozen ice cream, and you think, oh, you're getting this brain freeze, whatever. But no. I remember the first time actually getting brain freeze in Toronto, which was just in the evening, around about, I don't know, time must have been around 8 p.m. and just taking a walk outside a couple of blocks. And what was it like? I actually felt everything in the inside of my face kind of like freezing up. And when I got to my destination, which was to the restaurant that we were headed to, I was with a group of friends, and I just had to sit there and kind of thaw out, because it was like just getting frozen up on the inside. That was a completely new experience for me, and first experience of real brain freeze.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's crazy. That's what life is all about, to get new experiences out there and to see different things. So,
oh yeah.
You and I go back, what, 4 years now?
Yeah, just about 4.5 years almost.
Yeah, I remember that session you and I went through. Was it? And you wanted to do a webinar or podcast with me, and you did, which was my very first. I had never done that before, and you what I liked about this is that, Neelesh, you put me on the spot, and I went for it, and I said, sure, let's do it. And I just thought that from that moment on, that was amazing. That changed my life. Thank you so much for that.
I'm so happy to hear that, my friend. And that was really, really great experience, because we just decided we're going to do it. We didn't think about it, and we just did it. That was, as I said, we just said we're going to do it, and we just went out and did it. And that reminds me, because it's just a reminder to me as well, you bringing that up, because there's so many things that we want to do in life, and then we think about it, and we think about it, and we think about it, and then we talk ourselves out of it. And I think back to when you and I just did that. It was like, okay, we're going to do that. Okay, when are we doing it? No, we're going to do it tomorrow. Okay, are we prepared? No, but we're going to do it anyway. And we just went the next day and we did it. And I remember even when we shot that video, it was my battery was dying on my phone, so we didn't even think that through.
Oh, yeah.
The lighting, we were almost in twilight. So, but we didn't let any of that stop us, and we just had fun. So yeah, thanks for reminding me about that. just do it. I guess that's it, right? Just
like
do
it.
it.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah. And so what you're saying there, were you talking about that? And today, here I am with the microphone, with the right headphones on, and I've got lighting on my left, my right, and lighting from the front. So versus having nothing to, because I just didn't know. I wasn't aware of camera.
Yeah.
And today, a different story. So Neelesh,
Yeah.
When you and I met, were you involved with personal development before that?
Actually, I was, yeah. We met at a personal development event. And I mean, that's what led me to coming to that event. And I was involved in personal development, let's say, yeah, a couple of years before that. And, disclaimer to that is, when people say they're involved in personal development, it isn't just reading a book or, yeah, I know that, or, yeah, I've heard that before. It's actually immersing yourself in new information. It's actually taking yourself to the next level by executing on new things in your life. And most importantly, investing in yourself. Because, I think, when you asked me that question, the reason why I said a couple of years before that was because it was probably about 3.5 years before that when I started taking it seriously. Now, if you had asked me prior to that, do I read books? Am I a positive person? I would have been, yeah. But, there's a difference between reading books and knowing certain phrases and, actually being immersed in personal development. So I guess I just wanted to put that out there as well. So I was immersed in personal development in a couple of years before that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So deeply involved.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. So, and I think back because I was involved myself with personal development back when I was my late 20s. And that's when I got involved, which goes back almost 3 decades ago.
Wow.
So yeah, so that on its own changed my life, and but it came in as an accident, and it really did, because I didn't know I was dealing with personal development. A group of people gave me a book. It says, "Here's a book, read this." And being who I was disciplined enough to do it. And we all know you and I both know what discipline is all about. Now, I read the book, and then they led me to a whole system where they'd give me a book a month. They'd provide me with 2 tapes a week. So those cassette tapes that used to exist. Yes. Yeah, exactly. And I ended up having, I recall, I threw it away. Maybe I should have kept it. I had a huge box. It was like huge box full of these cassette tapes, and I threw it all away.
Oh man.
Yes.
That's gold.
Yeah. So but my thing was that I had so many, I didn't know what to do with them. So I threw it away, but I had hundreds and hundreds of tapes that I was involved with this weekly, and this happened over a period of years.
Yeah.
And slowly my mindset was starting to change, because there was a point in my life when I was totally reclusive, and having a conversation with one person would not happen, because I was afraid of how they thought I would think. So I had to grow, and grow I did.
Yeah.
So as the time went by, I became confident, more assertive, and I opened up to one person. Then I started talking with people in groups. However, It's not before I started to share my own story, share my story with other people, such as yourself, that it made a difference in my own life. So by making a difference in someone else's life, it made a difference to my own.
Yeah.
And it just went on from there. And that was my beginning with personal development.
That's the beauty about personal development, right? You discover who you are. You discover your true self. You discover your natural self. I mean, I think a lot of people, when we start getting into it, into personal development, it's an area because we always wanting more. We want to achieve more or get more stuff, or have more success. But the foundation and what we actually, and all of that's beautiful. All of that's lovely to have, and all of that comes as well. But the beautiful part about it is you realize the foundation of all of that is actually getting to know who you really are, because it's you that makes the difference. And as you said, you became more confident, you were happier, you became more of your true self, and that's the real benefit.
Oh, absolutely.
The real treasure, the real gems of personal development, knowing who you are.
Yes. And it's such a journey, and a journey that everyone should be on. But unfortunately, not everybody is on there. And why do you think that is? Why do you think people just don't go there?
Well, it's like most things in life, right? People are afraid. Anything that's new, anything that's new, anything that involves change, and it's different it's outside the box of what they've been taught, is not something that most people are willing to explore, because you're so conditioned. This is what you got to do, this is the way you got to think, this is the little box that you live in. So most people don't play out that box, no matter how much potential they have, no matter how much greatness they have, no matter how much inner resources they have. They don't play out that box. However, I do feel and I do know that the world is changing, and people are becoming more awake. And we're seeing that in today's world. It's a new generation, which is normal. It's natural evolution of the world. And what most people refer to as a consciousness shift, or a awakening of consciousness, which is really just getting to know more of who you are. Yes. And therefore, I see a lot more people are actually open, and actually not just open, but actually seeking out personal development, because they realize, hey, there's something more out there. There's something within me that wants to express itself. There's something within me that wants more. There's something within me that knows that I'm capable of more. And no matter how good life is, it's like, well, what's more? What's next? And the reason for that is because no matter how good something is, we always gonna want more. Always, always, always. No matter who you are, no matter how good your life is, you're always gonna want more, because by the design of being a human, you are always capable of being better.
For sure. So what do you think is driving the driving force behind people's awareness being sparked right now?
Wow, that's a big question.
Could it be? My thought is, the pandemic that we're going through right now, throughout the world, so this COVID pandemic has gotten people inside and having to look elsewhere to do things, or it itself has awakened a lot of people, because now they're thinking elsewhere. And I like this saying that get comfortable being uncomfortable.
The driving force.
Yes.
Sorry, you were saying that?
So by And right now, people, so many people are still not working. People are at home and now looking for something to do, something different. So as they're looking on maybe online, they're looking at different things, and they might stumble. They stumble on personal development itself, and they need to look at something different, something to spark their own interests. And so I think this pandemic has something to do with it. Does that make? What would you think?
Yeah, you said something very interesting. You started off with what was the driving force behind people wanting to get involved in personal development and being in this conscious awakening that the planet is going through and that we as humans are going through. And do you know what it is? I said, wow, that's a big question, but actually it's actually not. It's actually quite simple. And you know what the simple answer is?
What?
The simple answer is that, you know what? People are starting to look outside and they're starting to look inside.
Within.
Yeah. Because everything on the outside is just a reflection of what's going on inside. Now, we may not know that. We may not understand, or a person may not understand that at first of how this works. But when we understand that, we understand the process of creation, we understand the process of how actually things come to physical manifestation, we realize that it starts within. So what's the driving force? People realize, hey, security isn't something on the outside. Confidence isn't something on the outside. It starts inside. Because strip away everything from the outside, right? And the person who's got it on the inside still has it.
So it's wow. So that's just gold. That is absolute. That's a gem right there. So everything starts from within.
100%.
So happiness is not started from the outside. Sure, you've got circumstances that happen that might create a situation that you might feel that has brought on a feeling of depressed feeling. However, everything starts from within. So what's happening from the outside might have a small contribution of how you can feel, but in the end, we have the ultimate say. Is that
Absolutely,
correct?
That's it. Security is an inside job. Confidence is an inside job. Happiness is an inside job. It's an inside job. It's something, if you are looking, constantly seeking for it on the outside, you're like the dog chasing the tail. You're never going to find it.
Right.
It's the ultimate, what is it? I forget what's the word. I can think of it right now, but it's not coming to my mind. It's, you know what? It's the ultimate, you know, like a Chinese fortune cookie that has something profound in it.
Yes.
It's, you know, something that you keep looking for on the outside. But meanwhile, it's been there all along. It's, you know, it's something that you find on the inside. It reminds me of this quote. I'm going to paraphrase it. Okay. And I can't remember exactly where it's from, but I'm going to paraphrase it. But it's like the person always seeking to get back home, having never left their house. Always looking for it on the outside. But meanwhile, it's been there all along. And that's why I say you can take away, so you can, if you strip the person who's got it on the inside, will always have it, regardless of circumstances.
So not seeing what they have. Not seeing the forest amongst the trees. Wow. Uh-huh. Wow. And that's so true. That so often we have it within us. And just for an example of not too long ago, my spouse and I, so my wife and I looked at we're looking at another property elsewhere too. And my wife got a real estate agent to come in to give us a value on our home. And the person walked in and said, "Why would you want to leave this home? You have everything you want. You have everything here." Now, there were a few things that we were looking at elsewhere, but the home itself is so functional, and it is what most people would desire.
Mhm.
So totally correct. So we have it. When you've been somewhere for so long, you tend to not notice what's actually around you, and you start looking elsewhere, unless you're cognizant of what you have, unless you're aware of your surroundings.
Yeah, and it's all comes back to that word that you used just now, being aware. Being aware, because think about it, right?
Mhm.
You know, there's the saying that, you know, you always hear people say this, "Oh, I wish I was in the right place at the right time," right?
All right.
But if you're not the right person in the right place at the right time, it makes no difference, because you'll never act on it. You'll never do it. You won't know you're in the right place at the right time because you're not aware of it. Being the right person means you're aware that you're in the right place at the right time. How many people do we know who have been in the right place at the right time, but they're not aware that they're in the right place at the right time? Therefore, it passes them by because they're not aware of it. So it's all in our
thinking.
Yeah, it's all in our awareness, all in our consciousness, as we say.
Right. Love it.
And if you're there, if you're conscious, if you're aware, if you know, if you're the right person, you can act in it, because you know you're in the right place at the right time. But if you don't know that you're in the right place at the right time, and you don't know that you don't know that you're in the right place at the right time, nothing happens.
And it's a vicious circle, and and that's so many of us. So many of us are not aware of what's actually of the vibrations that are happening around us. Yes, and I can clearly see that this is the work you do. Is that correct?
Yeah, this is what I do.
This is what you do, personal development, which is that's it's I admire you for this, Neelesh. I truly do. And with the
Thank you, Dan.
so you've gotten have you traveled many different locations to get your information? Where have you gotten all of this insight that you have? Where does it come from?
I love that question, and it ties back to, you asked me about personal development, and I'm so happy that I actually expanded on that answer, and that I said, no, it's like, being immersed in it and taking it seriously, because it isn't something that I just got from a book or watching a video or doing one course. It's something that's been obtained over years of being immersed through it in experience, learning and experience.
So learning it, so learning it is one thing, but experiencing it is another. Is that correct?
100%. You don't know something until you experience it.
Okay.
And where did I get all this information from? I've learned it. I've applied it over years. Having traveled to different locations, and I remember just starting out, like, I think back to the first personal development event that I went for. It was a weekend away in a different city, right? From where I'm based in Durban, South Africa, and it was in Johannesburg, which is about an hour's flight away, right? Or a 6-hour drive. And I remember this event happening over there. And I remember hearing about the speakers that were coming that were going to be there. And some of my family and friends, admired these because they were older than me. And they were people that they had followed and stuff. And I told them about this event and like, do you want to come with? I was trying to get people to come with me because I didn't want to go alone, right? Mm-hmm. Because that's how we condition. Okay. And I didn't get any friends or family to come with me, but something within me knew I had to go for it. And I just decided I'm going to do it, book my flight, spend an entire weekend, came back on the Sunday night, had work the next day. This was when I was in corporate. And that just reminds me of, the things that I had to do to get that to acquire this information at that time. And also I think back, starting out, like going to events as well, where sometimes those events would be like after work, when you already had a long day, you've had, 8 hours of work. And then after work, there's an event and maybe you finish work at that time I remember finishing work at 4:30. And maybe the event starts at 6 and then you got to get through traffic and you're tired, you've had a long day, you've got the next day to plan for. And you finish at like 10. And those are things that when you committed, you do it because the payoff in the end. Yes. And it's something that you got to be committed to. And therefore, I come back to what I said in the beginning. It's not just reading a book. It's not just watching a video. It's not just saying, oh, I'm positive. Oh, I know that. No. You've got to take it to a whole new level because you're dealing with infinite. This whole world, this whole universe that we're living in, you have infinite potential. Like every person listening to this, watching this, you have infinite potential.
Oh, for sure.
You'll never uncover that in each layer that you keep on going, you'll realize there's more and more and more. So there's no end to it. There is no end. So whenever I hear someone say, oh, I read a book, or I watched the one video, or I did the one course, there's more because you keep growing in awareness.
Yes.
It's going to be enough for where you're at, right? And you might go from here to maybe here because that's where you want to go at that point in time. But then when you get to here, like when you hear, you think here is like, no, that's where I want to be. But remember, like I said earlier, you're always going to want more, no matter how good life is. Yes. You're always by human design. So when you get here, then you want to go to here. And
next level.
Yeah. You got to keep, and when you get here, then you got to keep going. You've got to keep going. You're never going to be satisfied. So it's an ongoing, continuous process.
Yes. Wow. That's great. It's totally true. And I can relate to what you're saying about the functions. As back in my 20s, I recall once a month, I go to functions that were maybe 14 to 16 hours away. And that was a weekend. Yeah. So I drive 16 hours, go to the function, and sometimes like you'd sleep over, you'd sleep for 2-3 hours, finish off the function, and drive back.
Yeah.
And I've seen myself do this without sleep. And like it's crazy. So that's 16 hours back to back in a weekend. So that's 32 hours. And there are a few occasions when I drove about 20 hours in a weekend. Yeah, 20 hours there and 20 hours back.
Wow, that's commitment.
Yes, and that, okay, this was I would have taken an extended weekend, maybe like a 4-day weekend. However, still, so that's a completely full day of driving, go to the function, and a complete day of driving back. And once you're back, but I was wiped, but I was committed. I was committed completely to where I wanted to go. And these were my experiences. I recall, and having no money, pick up 2 bushels of bananas on my side seat, eating those bananas one after the next. And that was my meal all the way there and all the way back because I had no money. Sleeping in a car. And there was this one time where I was in my car sleeping, and I happened to open my eyes. It might have been 2 a.m. and I noticed two sets of eyes looking in the window. And when I saw that, I just immediately closed my eyes, hoping that everything would go away. And sure enough, I ended up falling asleep and woke up, and they were gone. So that was good. But I might have been in a Walmart parking lot or somewhere. But yes, so these are all experiences.
Were those two sets of eyes a pair of human eyes, or a pair of maybe a bear or something like that?
Oh yes. So, well, the hands were there too.
Oh, okay, so it was human eyes.
It was human eyes.
Love it. Yeah, and then I love what you just said, because that's it. Like, I think when you ask someone the question, are you do you do personal development? A lot of people would say, yeah. I watched the video. I read the book. I attended the webinar. And that's also the beauty of the age that we live in at the moment. Even going back just a couple of years ago, you were not able to get all of this information online to the extent that you're able to get it right now.
Correct.
However, I don't know if you'll agree with me, and I'm sure you will, right? But nothing beats a live event. Nothing.
I agree.
Nothing. I mean, you and I met at a live event. Apart from the personal transformation that happens, you're surrounded with like-minded people. You've got this energy. You've got this human interaction. You meet people. I mean, I met you in the USA. You were from Canada. I'm from South Africa. So we're in totally different countries, and that was 4.5 years ago. We're still great friends today. Events are priceless, and that's personally where, when I reflect and look back, people will say, why do you keep? Because when you start doing this, like your family and friends don't get it. Like, why you keep going to events? They don't get it because they haven't had the experience you've had. And they don't know the transformations you've had. But over time, they look back and they see, oh wow, your life's totally different. You different. And then they get it. But when you're going through it, and I say this for the person who's starting personal development and perhaps going through that journey right now, your family and friends aren't going to get it. And you've got to be on that. You've got to find a support system that gets where you're going, who have the same goals that you have, and will support you through it. Because believe me, when you first start out, the place where you're going to look for support is going to be your family and friends. However, that not in all cases, but in most cases, probably isn't where you're going to get it from. And you can't let that deter you. You can't let that upset you. And also, when you were telling that story about driving 20 hours, right? Someone listens to that and will think, well, my God, why would you want to drive 20 hours? Hello, because your life is changing. There's so much payoff. There's so much benefit from it. Like you said earlier.
It makes no common sense to want to drive 20 hours one way and 20 hours back to spend a weekend somewhere. It makes no sense to someone who's outside of the circle.
Exactly.
I can appreciate that. I can understand that as well. Yeah. And what you're saying actually brings up something that I heard this from Les Brown way back actually during that in my 20s. And so the story goes about chickens. Chickens they're all in the barnyard, or all in their compound. And they're plucking away the stones, and they're all amongst each other. But there's this one that then there are some chicks, and these little chicks are mimicking their older parts, or the adults, so doing the same. Yeah. And all of a sudden, as they're doing this one one chick who's also picking at the pebbles is growing up and feeling a little different, feeling strange a little, but still plucking away. 2 or 3 weeks go by, and that little chick is getting big, and the other chicks are still plucking, but they're not as big as this one. And this one here is feeling energetic. He's wondering, says, "Wow!" And all of a sudden, this chick looks up and notices a bird just soaring in the air, and just effortlessly just going down and back up, and just turning, and then all of a sudden it wanted to take a dive down and comes right swooping up back up. And says, "Wow, what I would do to be a bird like this. This is just crazy. I'd love that." But then he kept on pecking at the pebbles. And 2 weeks go by. The bird is getting bigger and spreads his wings a little bit. Says, he looks up. Right? There's that bird again, soaring and swooping down, coming back up. Says, "Wow, I wonder if I could do that." And he starts talking with his siblings. Says, "I'd like this. I wonder if we could do that." Says, "No, don't do this because it's dangerous up there. That's not us. We are here. Stay here where it's safe, where nothing can harm us. They feed us every day. Why would you want to leave? Why would you want to leave?" Oh, maybe they have a point. So he's picking at the pebbles. 3 days later, he looks up. Wait a minute. He takes a run, and he finds himself going up and staying up a little bit and coming back down. And the siblings tell him, "We told you don't do this. You're going to get hurt. And we don't want you to get hurt." A week goes by, and he takes a run, and he's up and finds out that all this time he wasn't a chicken. He was actually an eagle. And he's soaring, and he's soaring. And why I bring this up is because there are so many people, so many of us who are eagles out there. We just don't know it because our surroundings are keeping us down. And not always, and most of the time, it's not because people want to harm us. They're trying to protect us. And Neelesh, you just brought up family members. And the family members are notorious to try to protect their siblings or their family members. And what they want to do, they're sharing things it's out of love, because this is what they know.
Absolutely.
They don't know any further.
Yeah. It's like you said, Dan, in the story, stay here where it's safe, where you're getting food every day. So the intention behind it when they tell you that is they want to protect you because, like you said, they love you, right? And that's it. But it might not, when you're trying to soar in that way, like the eagle, and be the eagle that you are, you might not see it in that way. Like you're looking for them to tell you, go and fly, go. I know you can do it. But, the way they train is, stay here where it's safe. You're getting food every day. You got shelter. You're taken care of.
That's right.
Relating to that story. So it's an understanding. But you know what? It's something that's important. I think it's important that we're talking about this because to someone new on the journey, unless you know that, it can create problems, and it also might want you to think, hey, maybe they're right, and you might want to give up. So that's important that someone knows that.
Oh, absolutely. So which defines, which comes up to my next topic here about circles of people. Mm-hmm. So be aware of the circle you're with, family and friends, or those who are they? And understand that those who you spend most time with will likely be the greatest influences in your life. Whichever way, could be family, could be friend, could be whoever, even coworkers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So those people will be an influence. So Neelesh, law of attraction, what does that say to you?
Wow, what does it say to me? my understanding and what it says to me, my perspective, through my learnings, through my knowledge and my understanding is that it's an exact law. It is just something right now that I don't think a lot of people might understand, or something that excites them, something that they know like it works, but they perhaps don't understand how it works. But when I hear when you say law of attraction and you say, Dan, what does it say to me? I say magic. I say exciting. I say a precise law, just like the law of gravity. Like the law of gravity decrees that if you fall off the 10th story of a building, regardless of whether you're a 7-month-old baby who knows about it or not, regardless if you're a 7-year-old kid who perhaps learned about it and just becoming familiar with it, or you're a 70-year-old person who accidentally falls off the top of a building, or the 10th story of a building. That law of gravity applies whether you know about it or not, regardless of you're a good person or you're a bad person, regardless of whether you're a happy person or you're a sad person. It doesn't care. The law applies equally for every person in that way. So when I think law of attraction, I think nature's law. The law of gravity is nature's law. The law of attraction is also nature's law. And it's just like when you tell someone about the law of gravity, there isn't mysticism around it. Like, if you fall off the 10th floor, then you're gonna fall, or if you use it in the right way, it's gonna be a miracle. You can fly in a plane. That's the law of gravity, right?
You might. Sorry, I'm gonna jump in there just 1 second, if you don't mind. I'll bring this up because I just had a conversation with someone just recently this week, and who absolutely does not believe in law of attraction. Where this person all thinks it's a woo-woo kind of thing, where it doesn't exist. And this person is completely science-based. Says there's no science behind it. And can you explain that?
Well, you see, that's the misunderstanding in there as well. When we say that it isn't science-based, there's a whole bunch of science and a whole bunch of quantum physics that supports it. So the fact that someone says that it's not science-based shows that they don't know a lot about it. And that's normal, because when we don't know about something, we're inclined to have an opinion about it without acquiring the specialized knowledge or enough information about it to make an informed opinion. All we do is we just pass judgment on it. Judgment is totally different from an informed and objective, unbiased opinion about it, right? Or assessment of something. So when someone says that, to me, it just says that, hey, they just don't understand it, because it's like someone who, like the 7-month-old baby who falls off the building, or the 7-year-old child who falls off the building. We don't say, oh, why did that happen? Why didn't the law of gravity stop working? Because he's a kid, he didn't know about it. Or why did it happen to the 70-year-old? Because, they were such a good person. Nature's laws don't work in that way. Regardless of whether you know about it or not, nature's laws operate. It's like a carrot. You can plant a carrot seed in the soil and you will get carrots. Through neglect, you can let weeds grow and you're going to get weeds. The soil isn't biased to what you plant in it. It will return what you plant to it, right? What you plant in it. Will give back to you whatever you plant in it. So coming back to your question, when someone says that, to me, it just says that, they just don't have an understanding about it. They just need more. They don't understand it, because if they understood it, they wouldn't say that. And I totally get that. I totally can get that as well, because when I didn't understand it, I would have probably thought the same thing. Like we hear so many stories about it. But once you understand how it works and you have seen the science behind it, you've seen the physics behind it. I mean, everything that we see in quantum physics, everything that you see in science today supports the entire theory of the law of attraction.
Right. So law of attraction is, and I totally agree with you, Neelesh, where law of attraction, there are many sciences behind different aspects of it, but it's not a science for law of attraction on its own. They're just little pieces all around it, which conform to this law of attraction. Is that correct?
Well, I'm no scientist, so I don't know about the correct terminology around it, right? There's so much of quantum physics that is supporting everything about the law of attraction. There's so much more evidence. There's so much more evidence around today's world that says you become what you think about. We don't understand. We as scientists, people out there are still trying to figure that out. Why does a particle move according to a certain reaction, right? Why is it, Dan, that when I think about you at certain times, you're going to pop me a message or send me something or give me a phone call or vice versa? Why is it someone who's listening to this podcast or watching this podcast, why is it that when you think about someone, you might run into them, or they might call you, or you might get a letter from them or something, or an email, whatever it is? Why is that? Why? Because we don't understand, most people don't understand how thoughts work. You see, thoughts are particles of energy that transcend all time and space. Like you and I having this conversation right now, okay? You are in Canada, I'm in South Africa, which is, I don't know how many kilometers or miles away that is, right? But
many.
Yeah, many, to say the least. But the voice travels like that. The picture between us is real time, it travels like that, right? And it's exactly the same with thought. It's not bound by time or space. Like if I were to pick up my phone and send you a message, the minute I hit send, boom, you would receive it on your side as well. Okay?
Correct.
Now, why? That happens by law. We don't say that, oh, that's magic, or wow, it's a miracle. We only say something is magic or something, is a miracle if we don't understand how it operates.
Right.
But when we understand how it operates, then we've taken the mysticism, we've taken the magic away from it. Because then it's just like, oh, that's normal, that's expected. And that's all it is. Because when I love this definition, like a miracle or magic is a known effect with an unknown cause. So you see the effect, you see what happens, but you don't know what caused it. So if you don't know what caused it, as humans, it must be a miracle. It must be magic. It must be supernatural. Must be some extra phenomena around it. But remember that if we went back, I don't know how many years ago this was, but if we go back decades, when Wilbur and Orville Wright, the Wright brothers, who introduced us to flight.
Yes.
When they were trying to get the plane off the ground, when they had this concept of man flying in the air, people thought that they were crazy. People thought that they were mad. Why? Because it was an unknown concept. People didn't understand that you can use the law of gravity man can use the law of gravity to fly. They would tell the Wright brothers, you know what, if God meant for man to fly, he would have given us wings. Their father, who was a bishop in a church, right, told them that they were going to go to hell for even suggesting the idea that man could fly.
Wow, isn't that crazy?
That's crazy, right? But here's the thing. Here's the thing. People in that day and age thought that they were crazy. People thought they had lost it. I mean, imagine what their neighbors were saying about them. I mean, those two kids, they thinking that they can fly. No one had ever done it in the history of the world. People had died trying to get man to fly. Yet today, Dan, right? Today, you and I can jump in an airplane. We can sit in luxury.
And listen to me, I got something that's
very. we can sit in luxury on the plane. We can have food, delicious, hot, yummy food on the plane. We can watch a movie on the plane. We can go and we can send texts on the plane. We can be connected to the internet on the plane. We can go and have a shower on the plane.
Today.
But if you had said that decades ago, people would have thought that you were crazy. They would thought that you were a lunatic. They would thought that you were mad. Why? Because they didn't understand it.
No, that's actually that's. Do you know the name Roger Bannister?
Of course, 4 Minute Mile.
The 4 Minute Mile is correct. In 1954, Roger Bannister he pulled the impossible, where they deemed it physically impossible to be able to run a 4-minute mile. And the year that Roger Bannister did this, I think is it the year or the following year, there are a number of people who had done this, because all of a sudden the people who decided to run this mile and were successful at it, you had a preconceived notion that yes, it was doable. But prior to this, when everyone was telling them it was physically impossible, that's what they had in their heads, that this is physically impossible. It cannot be done, until someone proved them wrong.
Yep. Yeah. It's funny that you bring up that story, because with Rod, I mean, people throughout time thought that it was impossible for man to run a mile in under 4 minutes. I mean, there's a story, I think, that says that the Egyptians would actually release lions or tigers for, to get people in fear, to get them running faster.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, just to see if it was possible. But it was deemed, as you said, it was a fact that it was physically impossible. It was a fact that it's physically impossible for a human being to run a mile in under 4 minutes. When Roger Bannister broke that milestone,
that barrier,
as you said, that barrier, it was just a matter of weeks, I think, before 16 people had broken his record, because the belief had changed, the understanding had changed. They had seen physical evidence.
Yes. So that being said, if for those of you next week, if you have something in mind and someone tells you that you can't do it, the only thing that you've gotten here is that what they're telling you is their own belief. You stick to your own belief and you keep on plugging away. Be persistent, be consistent at what you want to do. And you watch everything turn out as you maintain your own mental stability. Yeah, for sure.
So it all comes down to everything you believe is true. Whatever you believe, it's true. It was Henry Ford who said, whether you believe you can or you can't, either way, you're right.
You're right. Absolutely. I love that quote. Yes, for sure. So it's amazing. It's just crazy. So Neelesh, as we change things up a little bit, how do you maintain your mental and physical energy?
It's a practice. It's like everything else in life. It's a daily practice. I mean, what do you do on a daily basis then? Or every human being on this earth does, right? You brush your teeth on a daily basis. You put food in your body on a daily basis. You put water or liquid into your body on a daily basis. You sleep on a daily basis. Those are things that you do on a daily basis. So how do I maintain it on a daily basis? Is just as I feed my body, I gotta feed my mind.
Oh,
I feed
wow.
my mind on a daily basis because and again, through practice and through experience, I know this, right? When I'm on a daily basis feeding my mind, I'm better. My life is better. When I don't do that, it shows up. So it comes back again to this cause and effect relationship. I know that through experience.
Okay.
So what do? I feed my mind on a daily basis. I've got to do that. And it's something that's automatic now.
Yes.
And that's how I maintain my energy. Because this thing, my body, right? I understand my body is only an instrument of what goes on in my mind. So if this is right, then this is going to obey what's going on up here.
Yes.
And that's changed everything for me. And that's what gives me the energy. And you know what? We all have an infinite supply. We all hooked up to an infinite supply of energy anyway. It's just a matter of how do you access that energy? Right?
Correct.
And how do you accessing that energy is through the medium of desire. What do you want? What is your goal? What are your goals? What's your vision? What's your purpose? What drives you?
Right.
Because if you have a purpose that's big enough, you have a vision, you have a dream, you have a goal that's big enough, you get the energy. But take away the vision, take away the dream, take away the goal, take away the desire, life is boring. Then you don't have energy. There's
what
no
do you have
energy,
to live
right?
for? Correct.
There's no energy because there's no demand for the energy. If you have a demand, the supply is always there. So it comes back to it's like that saying from Solomon who said, "Without vision, the people perish."
Okay.
Yes. Or it might be from the Bible, but without vision, people perish, right? So that's where the energy comes from. As I said, feeding my mind on a daily basis in order to go after that big vision, go after that dream, go after that desire, go after that goal. And that's when life's fun.
Wow. Huh. So Neelesh, so maintaining a positive energy starts from the morning, from the first thing as you wake up.
Oh, I love this question, Dan. Right? Here's what I learned. Everyone thinks it starts from the time you wake up, but here's what I learned through experience. It starts from the night before.
Oh, wow, that's powerful.
Yeah. Because you see, people wake up and they think, okay, well, I'm gonna get up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m., or 6 a.m., or 8 a.m., whatever it is, and I'm gonna do, I'm gonna read this book or watch this or do that or whatever. And in order for you to get the most out of it that morning, it means you got to be prepared for it from the night before. You got to be prepped from the night before. You got to be in a good state from the night before, and you've got to be ready up ahead.
This is
the night before. Yeah. Right. And and that means you've got targets from the night before. Targets being, okay, for me, I love sleep. Right? I got to get my 8 hours sleep. I function best when I've got that sleep. So, I've got my target time to be in the shower. I've got my target time to have supper. I've got my target time to be in bed by a certain time, so that I'm not chasing the clock, right?
Okay.
So that
for sure,
the next morning, it's not a struggle for me to get up at that particular time to actually do the things that I need to do to prime myself for my day. So you got to prime yourself from the night before, and that's the key.
Oh, wow. That's so true. As you said, Neelesh, I also require my 8 hours of sleep. Without the 8 hours, because of my personal condition, I need my 8 hours because if not, I will start getting seizure symptoms from my epilepsy. And I can't afford that. Yeah, because it throws off my whole game. So 8 hours of sleep every single night. And I'm up early enough. So I'm in bed by 9. And that's, you say having a system, having a pattern. My bedtime is 9 o'clock. And I'm up at 5. So 5 o'clock, I get up. And I've slept a good night. Because not only have I gone to bed, but prior to going to bed, I had great thoughts. Yeah. My thought was what was productive during the day? Who did I impact today? Who did I provide a good impact today? Then when my eyes close, I have the great thoughts in my mind that I was worthy of my day. And I sleep a good night, wake up in the morning. And as I wake up, here's a bad culprit for so many people. I'll be honest, and I will tell you that the very first thing I do when I wake up is my phone. Not because what you might think right now. But this is my alarm. 5 a.m. I wake up and I touch it. And once I touch it, it goes away. I don't see it after. But so many people are guilty of picking up this and all of a sudden scrolling and what their attention is focused on their phone, or it could be on Facebook, social media, or even their emails. And what happens is that by doing this, you are giving your attention to other people, others' wants. They want you to view social media. They want to grab your attention to their needs. But here's what's required. The first hour of your morning needs to be done for you. So that's what I do. My first hour is done for myself. I wake up, and the very first thing I do, I'll get up, a tall glass of water. So I'll have half a liter of water, or 16 ounces, every single morning. Then I'm on the floor stretching. And once that's done, I go on my tablet and I post something that I've created. I create something every single morning and I post it. It's a positive quote. And that goes out to the world. And what's great about this is that we can look at something, but because I've created it, I'm living it. I feel it by creating it on my own. And not only is it created, I started something recently. After it's out there on my commute to wherever I'm going, I'll plug in something and with a microphone, and I'll talk about that quote for 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool.
Every day. And I store that. It's recorded. It's all recorded. And so once I've done this, my day has started off. My day is going strong. And I've got every single morning, I put an hour in of physical activity. because your brain needs to flow into your blood needs to flow into your brain, and all the extremities of your body to maintain that energy, that physical energy. So by doing this, I've got the physical and mental energy to start off my day, and I'm off and running. That's how I deal with what I do.
I love it, man. I love it.
For sure. So which is fantastic. So on the last note, I asked Neelesh, how can we see you? How can we view your work? How do we see you as a person? Do you have a platform that we can see you on? Visualize your work.
The best way, honestly, to get hold of me, Dan, is through Facebook Messenger at this point in time. Yeah, I do have a website, www.magicalmindacademy.com. So, people are welcome to go and get on that site, or, just go check out my Facebook and pop me a message. And I really work a lot one-to-one with people. So to be honest, I don't have a lot of stuff out there because I work with a lot of, I give people a lot of personal attention, a lot of individual clients that I work with, which works wonders for them, and they've seen amazing results. So the best way really to get hold of me and is through Facebook, through Facebook Messenger, and go to my site and just sign up for the newsletter.
Oh,
yeah, but
nice.
if someone really wants to get in touch with me, it's through Facebook Messenger. And I have a lot of personal touch with clients that I work with, the people that I work with. We've seen a lot of amazing success stories, a lot of transformations. A lot of people hit some big goals. I love doing that. So the best way, I'm not someone who when you reach out, you're gonna hear from chatbot, you're gonna hear from me. So go for it.
Okay. Well, thank you, Neelesh. So that's how we can get Neelesh Harbhajan. Now, if you and myself, you can reach me through social media. Plug in my name, Daniel Vincent, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and different facets. Or you can also reach me at danielvincent.mykajabi, so mykajabi.com. So that's Daniel Vincent at mykajabi.com. So thank you very much, Neelesh. I really appreciate the fact that you've given up a full hour of your time to be here with me on this podcast. And the talk we've had will affect a lot of people who might want to get involved with social media, right? And get involved with personal development, because it's so drastically required right now, especially in this day and age. It's required more now than ever. So thanks again, Neelesh. My heart goes to you. I'm full of gratitude.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. It's been my pleasure to have this conversation with you, and I can't believe it's been an hour that's gone by so quickly. It doesn't feel like it. So thank you for having me, and I really enjoyed this conversation with you, being here, and so good to see you again.
All right. So we'll keep in touch. Okay. Bye for now.
Bye.